Sarah Jenkins, the iron-willed CEO of Perk Up Coffee, surveyed her reflection. The baggy jeans, oversized glasses, and slightly frazzled hairstyle were a far cry from her usual tailored power suits. She was Sally, a clueless newbie, ready to infiltrate the trenches of her underperforming Seattle branch. Mounting customer complaints and a revolving door of employees had sounded alarm bells, and Sarah, a firm believer in first-hand investigation, was diving in headfirst. Entering Perk Up, the aroma of roasted beans mingled with an undercurrent of tension. Amelia, a barista with vibrant purple hair and tired eyes, greeted her. "You must be Sally. I'm Amelia. Just try to keep up, especially with Leo around. Trust me, you'll know when you meet him. Just try not to spill anything." Amelia's hushed tone hinted at a lurking storm, a storm Sarah was now determined to weather. Almost on cue, a voice boomed across the cafe. "Newbie! Those tables aren't going to wipe themselves!" Sarah turned to face Leo. He was a towering figure with a perpetually scowling face and a head barista name tag that seemed to radiate authority. He adjusted his glasses, glaring into Sarah's direction. "Sorry," Sarah mumbled, grabbing a rag. As she moved to wipe down a table, disaster struck. A stack of ceramic mugs, precariously balanced, wobbled and crashed to the floor, shattering into pieces. The clatter silenced the cafe. Conversation ceased. The espresso machine seemed to sputter in protest, and all eyes turned to Sarah. Leo's scowl deepened into a thunderous expression. "Are you kidding me? We're slammed. Just go do something, anything that doesn't involve breaking things." Sarah, mortified, retreated to the back, the weight of judgmental stares burning into her skin. This was not the smooth infiltration she had envisioned. For the next few hours, Sarah attempted to make herself useful, observing the cafe's dysfunctional ecosystem. Leo, despite his gruff exterior, ran the place with an iron fist, barking orders and correcting mistakes. Yet, beneath the harshness, Sarah sensed a surprising efficiency. The cafe somehow functioned. Then, the catalyst. A tech executive, glued to his phone, swaggered to the counter. "Large caramel macchiato, extra foam, non-fat milk, 2 pumps of vanilla, stat." Sarah, closest to the register, fumbled with the complicated order. The man didn't even glance at her. "I've got this, Sally," Leo grumbled, stepping in. As Sarah moved to refill the milk, the executive's voice escalated. "What do you mean $7.50? It was $6 last week. This is outrageous." "Prices went up. Company policy," Leo stated flatly. "This is highway robbery. I demand to speak to your manager." "Not here." "Then I want corporate's number. I come here every day. I practically keep this place afloat." Sarah froze, milk carton clutched in her hand. Should she reveal herself? End this charade? But something held her back. There was a deeper current flowing beneath the surface. "And then," Leo snapped. "Oh, you want gratitude? You want us to be thankful for entitled customers who treat us like machines? Thankful for a corporation that jacks up prices while slashing our benefits? Thankful for clueless new hires because management refuses to invest in proper training?" Gasps rippled through the cafe. Sarah stood transfixed. Leo continued, his voice gaining intensity. "Look at Sally. She's drowning on her first day because they cut our training program to save $1. And who suffers? The customers get slow service, we get more stress, and the new hires get humiliated." The cafe was silent, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. The executive, face crimson, sputtered. "I have never been spoken to like that in my life." "Then you've been surrounded by people who are either afraid of you or paid to tolerate you," Leo retorted, his voice now quiet but searing. "Your macchiato's on the house. Now get out." The executive stormed out, phone already glued to his ear. Leo turned, finding the entire staff staring at him, a mix of shock and awe on their faces. "Show's over, everyone," he announced, his shoulders slumping slightly. "Sorry for the disturbance." As the cafe slowly resumed its rhythm, Leo approached Sarah, who was still clutching the milk carton. "Look, I'm sorry you got caught in the crossfire," he said, his voice softer now. "But this job will eat you alive if you're not tough. Better to know now than later." In her 15 years of building Perk Up, Sarah had never witnessed such raw, unfiltered frustration. Leo wasn't just angry about a rude customer. It was a volcano of pent-up resentment, years in the making. The next morning, Sarah arrived early, expecting Leo to be gone. To her surprise, he was already there, meticulously cleaning the espresso machine. "Morning," Sarah offered tentatively. Leo glanced up, his expression unreadable. "You came back. Impressive. Takes more than a broken mug to scare you off." "It wasn't just a mug," Sarah replied, tying her apron with newfound resolve. "No," Leo said, his voice low. It was a statement. A week turned into 2. Sarah immersed herself in the cafe's daily grind, all while working as the CEO of Perk Up and facing angry executives demanding answers for the viral video that captured Leo's outburst. She learned that Leo regularly stayed late to help his coworkers, covering shifts for single mothers and lending a sympathetic ear to struggling students. One day, Sarah overheard Leo discreetly slip a $50 bill to Amelia, a young barista struggling to pay for her sick grandmother's medicine. "I don't need charity," Amelia protested, trying to hand it back. "It's not charity," Leo insisted. "It's what they owe you for cutting your hours. Take it." Leo was a pillar of support, a silent guardian angel for his colleagues. Then came another revelation. Jamie, a young, nervous barista, was struggling to meet the company's increasingly demanding performance metrics. Derek, the shift manager, breathed down his neck. "You need to be faster. Corporate's tracking our times." Leo stepped in. "Derek, isn't it time for inventory count in the back? I'll handle this." He spent the next 10 minutes patiently guiding Jamie, demonstrating techniques to improve efficiency without sacrificing quality. "Why are you helping him?" Sarah asked later, as they restocked supplies. "I thought you were all about toughening up." Leo measured his words carefully. "There's a difference between being tough and being cruel. These metrics are designed by people who've never made a latte in their lives. Jamie's a good kid. Breaking his spirit doesn't help anyone." Sarah was beginning to understand. The hostile work environment her HR team had flagged wasn't created by Leo. He was fighting against it. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place one evening. Sarah, taking out the trash, overheard Leo arguing with a man in a tailored suit behind the cafe. It was Ethan, the regional manager. "You can't just change the schedule after it's been posted," Leo was saying. "People have lives, childcare arrangements. Corporate wants labor costs down 15%, Ethan replied coldly. "I don't make the rules." "So you just enforce them without question?" Leo shot back. "What about Diane? Cutting her hours means she loses her health insurance." "We're a business, not a charity." "We're human beings," Leo countered. "And I've got documentation of every labor violation in this cafe for the past 3 years. One call to the Department of Labor." Ethan's face hardened. "Reinstate the original schedule, or tomorrow morning, I start making calls." Ethan stormed off. Leo leaned against the wall, suddenly looking exhausted. He pulled out a small notebook and made a quick entry. Sarah slipped back inside, her mind reeling. Leo wasn't just an angry employee. He was a one-person union fighting tooth and nail to protect his colleagues. That evening, Sarah received a call from her executive assistant. "The board is demanding answers about the viral video. #PerkUp Showdown is trending." It was time to act. The next day, Sarah walked into Perk Up to find Nessa, the district director and an executive Sarah had personally hired, berating Leo. "This location's performance is unacceptable. Customer satisfaction is down. Labor costs are up. And then there's this PR nightmare." "Maybe customer satisfaction is down because you've cut our staff to the bone," Leo retorted. "People wait longer, get frustrated, and leave bad reviews. It's not rocket science." "Your attitude isn't helping," Nessa snapped. "You realize this is grounds for termination." A subtle shift occurred in the cafe. The staff moved closer, forming a protective circle around Leo. Even some customers seemed to sense the tension, their conversations dying down. "Go ahead," Leo challenged. "Fire me, then explain to corporate why this location loses half its staff overnight." Nessa hesitated, calculating her options. Finally, she said, "Consider this a final warning." She turned to leave, then spotted Sarah. "And who are you?" "Just a new hire," Sarah replied, her heart pounding. "Learning the ropes." After Nessa left, the staff collectively exhaled. That was close, Amelia whispered. Too close, Leo agreed, looking troubled. Later, as they closed up shop, Sarah asked, "Why do you do it? Why risk your job for everyone else?" Leo hesitated, then pulled out his notebook. 3 years ago, my best friend, Maya, worked here. He began, his voice quiet. She was working 60-hour weeks, getting paid for 40. When she complained, they cut her hours. She was already taking care of her younger siblings. She took another job, started working around the clock. One night, driving home exhausted, she fell asleep at the wheel. His voice cracked. The company sent flowers to her funeral the same week they installed a new espresso machine, worth more than what they owed her in unpaid wages. Sarah felt a wave of nausea wash over her. I started documenting everything after that, Leo continued. Wage theft, safety violations, retaliatory scheduling. Corporate knows I have enough to trigger a major investigation if I ever took it public. It's the only leverage I have. Is that why you're so hard on new employees? Sarah asked. I'm not hard on them because I want to be, Leo replied. I'm hard because this place will chew them up and spit them out if they're not prepared. Better they hear it from me than learn it the hard way. Sarah made a decision. She would reveal herself the next day, but fate had other plans. The next morning, Ethan stormed into the cafe, waving a corporate memo. Emergency staff meeting. In the back room, Ethan announced, due to recent incidents and subpar performance, Perk Up is implementing immediate corrective action, and my first act is the termination of Leo Maxwell. The room erupted in protest. Then Sarah stepped forward. No, it doesn't, she said quietly. Ethan turned to her, his condescending tone dripping with disdain. Excuse me, who are you? Sarah removed her glasses and let her hair fall loose. My name is Sarah Jenkins. I'm the CEO of Perk Up Coffee. The silence was deafening. Leo's expression shifted from shock to rage. You've been lying to us, playing dress-up while people here struggle? I needed to see the truth firsthand, Sarah replied. And what I've seen is disturbing. Wage theft, intimidation, unsafe conditions, all happening under my company's name. So, this whole thing was corporate theater? Leo said bitterly. No, Sarah said softly. I built Perk Up from nothing, and somewhere along the way I lost sight of what was happening on the ground. She approached Leo. You've been fighting a battle no employee should have to fight. Sarah pulled out Leo's notebook. 67 documented incidents of labor violations, 35 cases of wage theft, 22 instances of retaliatory scheduling. Leo, will you stop this crazy and take the CEO for a second? Leo lunged forward, snatching the notebook. You had no right. No, I didn't, Sarah agreed. Just like my company had no right to treat its employees this way. She turned to the staff. I owe all of you an apology. After firing Ethan, Sarah made a bold offer to Leo. I'm offering you the position of Director of Employee Advocacy for Perk Up Coffee. I can tell that you want to bring everyone together as a team, so I think this is a fair position for you at this time. Do you accept it? There was shock written all over Leo's face as he was caught off guard. Look, for 3 years, you've stood up for everyone when I wasn't around. That's leadership. Even if you're not a part of a business school, you are a leader, not by words, but by actions. I think it's time for you to take your passion and experience to another level by collaborating with me. Finally, Leo was taken by Sarah's genuineness, and it changed her view on him. She extended her hand and said, I accept conditionally with a 6-month trial period for both of us. Sarah shook his hand firmly and said, Welcome to management, Leo. God help us both. 3 months later, the transformation at Perk Up was undeniable. Sarah knew that her vision of the company has become closer to reality, and the best part, she knows that it's only the beginning. The most exciting part is that they have decided to redesign the cafe for a more comfortable space. A place where employees can rest better, relax, and share their thoughts and ideas on how to create more value for the team and the community. A year later, they hosted a special event. What they didn't know is that the whole revolution that they thought had started in one coffee had started spreading to multiple other coffees. As Sarah and Leo were addressing everyone, Sarah was so thankful as she knew she didn't only have a great business partner, but also a great friend. She glanced toward Leo, still thinking corporations can't change. And finally, Leo looked at her, smiling. Not a smile of the past, but the future, with hope and genuineness. Thank you for reading. We hope this story inspired you to brew a better world, one cup at a time. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more inspiring content. And remember, good health and a positive mindset are the best ingredients for success.